Hey guys, I thought I'd put a quick video together today to discuss the Amiibos in Tears of the Kingdom. Now they work the same way as they did in Breath of the Wild, but if you've never played that game, I may as well start just to explain how it works here. So there will be a setting in the main menu that if you go in here, it should be enabled by default. You can also enable it from the main menu of the start of the game, but you can see at the top there, Amiibo enabled, so obviously that means they'll work if I turn them on. You'll also need to have the RFID or whatever the thing is called from the Nintendo Switch menu, but again, that's always on by default, and if you don't have it turned on, you'll get a warning as soon as you try to use it. But anyway, once you've progressed a little bit in the game, you will unlock the Amiibo power here. And all you do is select it as you would any other power, and you'll see the little kind of warp thing appearing on the floor. And all you got to do, and you can't see this, but obviously because it's happening off the screen, but is take your Joy-Con, or your controller in general, and above the right thumbstick, so on the right Joy-Con, on the thumbstick, just put your Amiibo character, or the cards if you're using those, right over that thumbstick, and wait a second. And there you go. And the chest will fall from the sky, and depending on the Amiibo that you've just scanned, you'll get various different things like food, other types of consumables that'll be handy for you to use. Nice broadsword, not a particularly good drop, but scan, press the R button to scan again, and keep going until you'll eventually find one of the rarer weapons. So depending on the Amiibo, some of them drop quite rare pieces of armor, some of them the chest will have, you know, more rare crafting components and minerals. This is good, just these crafting things like this, good for creating elixirs and things like that are good for boss fights. Barrels that'll drop sometimes, like these crates too, you can blow all them up to be arrows and rupees inside. It's mostly handy for the elemental arrows. Now depending on how far you progress in the game, it'll dictate a bit on what you can get. So you won't get like the ultra rare mega damage stuff too easily at the start. Obviously they don't want you to be walking out the front door of the game with the best stuff that's available to you. But just scan through them each day and you'll be able to eventually build up a decent arsenal of unique weapons. And of course great crafting and recipe ingredients too. I'll keep going with this for a minute and see if I get any other interesting drops today. The cards can only be used once per day. So if I just scanned Majora's Mask Link there, that means I can't use him again today. If I try and scan it again, which I'll try and do now, you get that little warning message. So you can only use it once a day. I'm not entirely sure if it's every 24 hours or it resets at midnight every day. I have a feeling it's midnight every day because I did this yesterday, a bit later in the day than it is now. So I think it resets at midnight every day. There is a cheat for this, so if you don't have your Nintendo Switch connected to the internet, you can just go into the system settings and change the current time of day. And if you just change it to 24 hours later, or just skip forward to the next day, you can scan your cards again. So very handy if you're maybe a little later in the game when you've got a lot of health and you're kind of looking to take on some of the end game bosses. What you can do is fiddle around with these for a while and try and get all of the best weapons there are, because there's some really good weapons, and I'll include a link in the description to the website, and I'll have a full table of all the different rare drops that you can get from each of the cards or the Amiibo figures, depends on which ones you're using. So yeah, definitely later on in the game when you're fighting some of the bigger bosses, you'll absolutely benefit from some of the high tier legendary weapons that drop from these crates. They're rare drops. Here we go, we've got a rare drop here. Two armor, but the upside of course is that that has flame resistance, so the first time I visit the Goron City I won't have to rely on the elixirs to give me heat resistance. I'll have immediate from the armor. Hopefully not something decent drops here. There's no way to know anyway. It's a completely random roll. It does feel like cheating a bit, particularly now when I don't have to go off foraging for any elixir supplies. I'm getting some pretty rare stuff just thrown at me from all over the map. But it's pretty cool. I think it's cool anyway. I'm using some cards there. I have a couple of the Amiibos, but I think there's like 26 that you can get for Zelda. That's an awful lot of money to be spending on these things, especially when they've gone for crazy prices. I've always wanted the Guardian. That thing costs 80 quid. So, it's enough for me. Got passing the old rusty shield now. Not having a good day of high tier weapons, am I? See what else we get. The meat's certainly a handy one, and what I'll also do in the description is I'll include a link to the recipes guide that I've created. Well, the Champion for Averages would be great now to give myself some stylish paraglider skins. And what I'll do is I'll include a link to the recipes in the description. I've also created a big table of like really common and useful recipes. I just scanned the wolf link there. He doesn't appear in this game. You just get chunks of meat. But I've included a list of recipes. I've included both the easy to find recipes, so like all the common ingredients that you can find anywhere on the map. And I've also created the ones for best health and the best attack and defense. So very handy if you're I might keep this spear because I actually like it. Best attack and defense, and I think the other one was the elemental resistance, so shock, frost, heat, all those resistance. So they're all really handy, and like a lot of the ingredients for it you will get through these chests. So again, gives you a bit of a motivation to click through these each day, get all your bits and bobs. And when you know all the recipes, once you do it once, it gets unlocked in the game, so you don't have to keep remembering these things. So I say the first time you do it, just kind of go over all the recipes on that list, and then from then on you'll be able to do it without needing to waste your time visiting my disgusting website. That's not disgusting. So there we go. That's all my Amiibo cards done for the day. You can scan any Amiibo. So I think I have, I don't know where I had Yoshi out somewhere, the little woolly fella. He's out of reach now. But let me grab him quick here, demonstrate it. Right, so I got my little woolly Yoshi here. I know they worked in Breath of the Wild. My guess is they'll just give it some crafting ingredients. This is what they did in Breath of the Wild too. So if you have any other Amiibos, even if you have other cards from other games, Mario ones or Smash Bros or whatever, they don't have to be Zelda related to work in this. Now only the Zelda related ones will give you these golden chests and have the nice fancy ingredients inside them. But you can scan anything, and then again gives you the exact same benefit of being able to obtain a lot of really good crafting resources and weapons and stuff. So I would definitely recommend scanning them every day. I know it's a bit of a tedious task. It can be a bit boring having to scan so many of them, but it does help you a lot. It helped me a lot in Breath of the Wild, and it helped a lot in this, I suppose, so far. But anyway, I've been rambling now for 8 minutes. You could probably have quit this video after the first 30 seconds once I scan the first Amiibo. But anyway, there's my comprehensive guide to Amiibos, and I'll include all the good links in the description to help you out. Talk to you later.